Oh, there's something in my chest that I can't hide. When feelings get involved, I'm terrified. 'Cause I've been here before and said goodbye. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? For you I'd give it one more try. Turn away and wrestle with my doubts. Oh, I leave them all behind, but don't know how. Bury my head deep within the crowd, but I'm reaching for your hand to pull me out. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? You can see straight through my life. Oh, there's something in my chest that I can't hide. When feelings get involved, I'm terrified. 'Cause I've been here before and said goodbye. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? For you I'd give it one more try. Turn away and wrestle with my doubts. Oh, I leave them all behind, but don't know how. Bury my head deep within the crowd, but I'm reaching for your hand to pull me out. Oh, look, I wish I'd find. Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? You can see straight through my life. Oh, there's something in my chest that I can't hide. When feelings get involved, I'm terrified. 'Cause I've been here before and said goodbye. Oh, are you the one when I try look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? But you would give it one more try. Turn away and wrestle with my doubts. Oh, I leave them all behind, but don't know how. Bury my head deep within the crowd, but I'm reaching for your hand to pull me out. Oh, are you the one when I try look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? You can see straight through my life. Oh, there's something in my chest that I can't hide. When feelings get involved, I'm terrified. 'Cause I've been here before and said goodbye. Oh, are you the one when I try look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? But you would give it one more try. Bury my head deep within the crowd, but I'm reaching for your hand to pull me out. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find?
Okay, sorry about the long intro. I don't normally do one that long, but that's all right. It happens occasionally. So we're on chapter 8 of the Time Travel Handbook, and this one is titled Practical Time Travel, and it's got a picture. I'll go ahead and show it to you, but I'm going to turn right around and show you almost an identical picture, but with some illustrations. But here is the one that heads up the chapter. And then immediately following that is one with, what's the word? Labels. Inner ring, high frequency, timing, delay, loop, blend, so on and so forth. So I hope you can read all of those. Okay. So that starts us off. And there's another one. It's not labeled. It's just a little drawing off to the corner. So kind of looks like illustrations I've seen of black holes and wormholes and stuff. So we'll see what that's about here in just a second. Looks like we've got a number of small illustrations all the way through this chapter. Oh, wow. Bunches. Okay, well, we'll just jump into it. Practical time travel. And we start off with a couple of short quotes again, like most of the chapters have. Time is God's way of keeping everything from happening all at once. Time travel, a starter's kit. Don't know where that comes from. Never heard of that one. Time travel, a starter's kit. The other one is, time's glory is to calm contending kings, to unmask falsehood and bring truth to light. William Shakespeare. Or Francis Bacon, or whoever you think Shakespeare actually was. All right, practical time travel continues to elude the consumer, and until time travel devices are manufactured on a large scale, the garage inventor will just have to build his own. From the early time travel experiments of Keeley, Tesla, the Wilson brothers, of Thorne, EMI, and others, to the modern time travel allegations of the Philadelphia experiment and the Montauk Project, this book hopes to bring practical time travel to the consumer. Okay. Brian X's views on time travel and interdimensional voyages. Posted on the internet was this time travel rant by Brian X, a worthwhile treatise we included in this chapter. Hopefully it's not the entire chapter like the last one was, but little side trip here. I looked up the Wingmaker's website. Apparently, they claim it has been severely altered very recently, or a reference to it said that it had been altered. So I was going to kind of go through and do a side-by-side with what's in this book, which was printed in '99, with what's on the website now, and just kind of see for myself how altered it is. But anyway, that was last chapter. Getting on with this one. Posted on the internet was this time travel rant by Brian X. Okay, so time travel is no longer regarded as strictly science fiction. For years, the concept of time travel has been the topic of science fiction novels and movies, and has been pondered by great scientists throughout history. Einstein's theories of general and special relativity can be used to actually prove that time travel is possible. Government research experiments have yielded experimental data that conclusively illustrate that fast-moving aircraft have traveled into the future. This phenomena is due to the principle of time dilation, which states that bodies moving at high velocities experience a time that ticks slower than the time measured at zero velocity. Not as much time elapses for a moving body as does for everything else. Phenomena known as wormholes and closed time-like curves are possible means of time travel into the future and the past. Traveling into the past is a task which is much more difficult than traveling into the future. Imagine, if you will, that you are one of the people still alive today that was born prior to 1903, when the first airplane took flight. When you were when you were young, the idea of flying would probably have been quite exciting. Some scientists believe that we may presently be living through an identical scenario. The thing that would be so exciting, however, would not be flight, but time travel. Leading scientists believe that our children will have to once again see the impossible become routine. Professor Mikio Makaku, okay, I wonder if that's a really bad misspelling of Michio Kaku. Uh, but it says Mikio Mukaku of the University of New York believes that space flight, well, maybe it isn't, that space flight may one day unlock the secret of time itself. This will require the development of spacecraft that can travel at speeds on the order of 200 million kilometers per second. That's about 600 million miles per hour. Craft traveling at this speed will take us near the speed of light, where time actually slows down. This is what's known as time dilation. Einstein's theories predict that the faster a spacecraft moves, the slower time ticks inside of it. Imagine that a rocket ship takes off from Earth and approaches the speed of light. If we were to watch it from Earth with a very powerful telescope as it traveled away from us, we would see everyone inside the ship as being frozen in time. To us, their time would slow down, but to them nothing would change. This has been measured in the laboratory and on location using atomic clocks, aircraft, satellites, and rockets. It is proven that time slows down the faster you move. In 1975, Professor Carol Alley of the University of Maryland tested Einstein's theory using two synchronized atomic clocks. One clock was loaded on a plane and flown for several hours, while the other clock remained on the ground at the airbase. Upon return, the clock on board the plane was found to be ever so slightly slower than the one on the ground. This was not due to the experimental error, and has been repeated numerous times with the same result. The difference in time is even more pronounced in satellites such as the space station. This is because these objects are traveling at speeds much faster and for much longer periods than possible in an airplane. The faster an object moves, the more time is distorted. Okay, so we've got a couple of illustrations. I'll show you this small one first, and I'll come back to this other one. This one is just labeled scalar wave structure, flattening slot, I think is what that says. And that's just this little illustration up here in the corner. Okay. And then this other one, Alfred Wakeman's drawing shows the intertwining continuity of vortex and toroidal inflow-outflow. These 1980 drawings demonstrate dynamic stages of flow development, including time vortices, courtesy of Electric Spacecraft Journal. And that is that illustration, or that set of illustrations. Okay. If you want to take the time to look at that more thoroughly, you can find this video on YouTube in about a week, and you can do that. Or I'm sure it's available online somewhere. Okay. Now that we know that it is possible to travel into the future by moving at great speeds, the next problem is how to travel in time a respectable amount without having to sit in a fast-moving spaceship for years. This problem is solved by the theoretical existence of what I think are known what are known as closed time-like curves and wormholes. Einstein's special and general theories of relativity combine three-dimensional space with time to form four-dimensional space-time. Space-time consists of points or events that represent a particular place at a particular time. Your entire life thus forms a sort of twisting, turning worm in space-time. The tip of the worm's tail would be your birth, and its head is the event of your death. The line which this worm creates with its body is called the object's world line. Einstein predicts that world lines can be distorted by massive bodies such as black holes. This is essentially the origin of gravity, remember? Now, if an object's world line were to be distorted so much as to form a loop that connected with a point on itself that represented an earlier place and time, it would create a corridor to the past. Picture a loop-to-loop track that smashes into itself as it comes back around. This closed loop is called a closed time-like curve. Wormholes are holes in the fabric of our four-dimensional space-time that are connected but which originate at different points in space and at different times. They provide a quick path between two different locations in space and time. This is the four-dimensional equivalent of pinching two pieces of a folded sheet of paper together to make contact across the gap. Distortions in space cause the points separated by the gap to bulge out and connect. This forms a wormhole through which something could instantaneously travel to a faraway place and time. No more problems of traveling in a rocket ship for years to get into the future. This is essentially what was written about in Alice in Wonderland's Through the Looking Glass. Her looking glass was a wormhole that connected her home in Oxford with Wonderland. All she had to do was climb into her looking glass, and she would emerge on the other side of forever. In reality, however, it would require a much more elaborate scheme to create a wormhole that connects two different points in space-time. First, it would require the construction of two identical machines consisting of two huge parallel metal plates that are electrically charged with unbelievable amounts of energy. When the machines are placed in proximity of each other, the enormous amount of energy, about that of an exploding star, would rip a hole in space-time and connect the two machines via a wormhole. This is possible, and the beginnings of it have been illustrated in the lab by what is known as the Casimir effect. The next task would be to place one of these machines on a craft that could travel at close to the speed of light. The craft would take one machine on a journey while it was still connected to the one on Earth via the wormhole. Now a simple step into the wormhole would transport you to a different place and a different time. Wormholes and closed time-like loops appear to be the main ways that time travel into the past would be possible. The limitation on this time travel into the past is that it would be impossible to travel back to a time before the machine was originally created. Although the aforementioned theories of general relativity are consistent for closed time-like curves and wormholes, the theories say nothing about the actual process of traveling through them. Quantum mechanics can be used to model possible scenarios and yields the probability of each possible output. Quantum mechanics, when used in the context of time travel, has a so-called many-universe interpretation. This was first proposed by Hugh Everett III in 1957. It encompasses the idea that if something can physically happen, it does in some universe. Everett says that our reality is only one of many equally valid universes. There is a collection of universes called a multiverse. Every multiverse has copies of every person and all matter. The proposal of time travel is backed by scientific theory, but that is not enough to make it realistically possible. Numerous arguments are proposed that prevent time travel into the past. Both common sense and scientific fact construct serious obstacles. A major argument against time travel into the past is called the autonomy principle, better known as the grandfather paradox. This paradox is created when a time traveler goes back in time to meet his or her grandfather. Now, upon their introduction, it would be possible to change the course of events that lead up to your grandfather and grandmother marrying. Back to the Future. Um, you could tell him something about a family secret to convince him you are who you say you are, and he may proceed to tell his soon-to-be wife. She may, in turn, doubt his sanity and have him committed. Thus, your grandparents would never have your mother, and therefore you couldn't be born. But then how could you have ever existed to travel back in time if you don't exist? Another argument of impossibility is called the chronology principle. This principle states that time travelers could bring information to the past that could be used to create new ideas and products. This would involve no creative energy on the part of the inventor. Imagine that Pablo Ruiz y Picasso, the most influential and successful artist of the 20th century, were to travel back in time to meet his younger self. Assuming he stays in his correct universe, he could give his younger self his portfolio containing copies of his paintings, sculptures, graphic art, and ceramics. The young version of Picasso could then meticulously copy the reproductions, profoundly and irrevocably affecting the future of art. Thus, the reproductions exist because they are copied from the originals, and the originals exist because they are copied from the reproductions. No creative energy would have ever been expended to create the masterpieces. A notion that was once nothing more than science fiction is now a concept that's becoming reality. Einstein's theories of general and special relativity can be used to actually prove that time travel is possible, and research has shown that fast-moving craft can travel into the future. Time dilation is the easiest method because it merely requires high-velocity motion to experience time travel. Phenomena known as wormholes and closed time-like curves are possible means of time travel into the future and the past. Traveling into the past is a task which is much more difficult, however. Its theory involves complicated scenarios of tears in four-dimensional space-time, energy equivalent to that of an exploding star, and traveling near the speed of light. Both common sense and scientific fact can be used to paint scenarios that become serious obstacles, yet even these hindrances can be explained away. If the multiverse concept is reality, then most present ideas of time travel are based on a false reality. If time travel is completely impossible, then the reason has yet to be discovered. Okay, and then that's the end of that rant from the internet, and it gives a couple of references. Where have all the time travelers gone? The quantum physics of time travel, a warped view of time travel, and how to murder your grandfather and still get born. Looks like articles from mostly magazines. So, all right, moving on. So, we get into the second section of this chapter, and the first thing it does is have another illustration of like a wormhole type. Oh, I hate it when it does that. I have to be able to see in order to tell where my picture is. There we go. It minimizes my software sometimes for no reason. All right, and then I'll go ahead and show this one again, even though I've already showed it. It was earlier in the chapter, but it's this illustration is repeated here. Okay. All right. Time Travel Mechanical Services Ltd. Now we'll look into another unusual case of time travel and a group briefly appearing on the internet. This is the case of Time Travel Mechanical Services Ltd. Sometime in December 1998, a man left a folder of documents at the Adventures Unlimited bookstore and cafe at 221 Symonds Street, Auckland, New Zealand. The folder was the closed at the ends manila type with the words Time Travel Mechanical Services Ltd. printed across the front. The man, described as wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt and having his black hair tied in a ponytail, set down the folder and then walked out of the store. On leaving, he called out, "With compliments from the future." He never returned. The New Zealand office did its best to trace the existence of the company, but could find no listing with the New Zealand government, at least in 1998. After examining the documents, they forwarded the originals to the Kempton offices of Adventures Unlimited by special courier. The contents, a slim file of documents, described what were the plans for a quote-unquote polyphase warp harmonic field array, a time travel device widely in use in the 23rd century on a continent known as Pacifica. Morel Chambers III turned the folder over to the nearby Stellar Research Institute, where the senior physicist Winston Whittaker examined the documents. Whittaker took careful notes on all of the diagrams and flew via India and Nepal to Tibet. He hasn't been heard from since. However, certain documents, including the original papers left in Auckland, were still on file in Illinois. Okay. On file in Illinois. How do we get from Auckland to Illinois? Anyway, this editor was left to work with the original documents and certain notes discovered in a trash can in the Stellar Research Institute's laboratory. Whittaker's experimental geodesic dome suffered a mysterious explosion shortly after his departure for Tibet. Any discussion of Time Travel Mechanical Services Ltd. should begin with the file documents, which include 4 original diagrams with brief technical explanations. The following diagrams and captions are from the original folder, and then that's where Figure 1 comes from, the one I just showed you here. And the explanation of it. Polyphase warp harmonic field array. The polyphase warp harmonic field array in its complete assembly can be seen in Figure 1. The general arrangement, the radiated portion terahertz frequency range, lags behind the magnetic generators. This creates unusual harmonic mag field patterns that warp the temporal aspects of a variable region within the magnets. The purpose-built computer generates the special high-frequency power pulses and keeps track of the resulting temporal lag. Then it's another illustration, Figure 2, warp drive continuum booster. The warp drive continuum booster in its general arrangement can be seen in Figure 2. Counter-rotating streams of electrons are tuned to collide within the particle mixing chamber. The 2 colliding beams are synchronized to interact in a small region of space where a superimposed pattern of the 2 signals forms. This small pattern contains regions of temporal continuum disorders which can be measured. And here is that illustration. Particle mixing chamber there in the center. Okay. The next one, the time wave rectifier. The time wave rectifier in its general arrangement can be seen in Figure 3. Tachyons, daughter products of matter-antimatter collisions, are slowed by magnetic array and tuned laser cooling. The tachyon wavefront can then interact with several replaceable sensors during its transit to the cooling chamber. So here's illustration 3. Sorry. Okay. And then we have one more. The zero-time generator. The zero-time generator in its general arrangement can be seen in Figure 4. Specific energy positrons are timed to interact with specific frequency protons to calibrate quote-unquote rest tachyon daughter particle detectors. So here is the 4th one. Okay. Moving on. The following is taken from the promotional brochure included in the manila folder. The polyphase warp harmonic field array in action. The time wave rectifier together with the zero time generator maintain the temporal flux needed to warp forward or backward into various hyperdimensional wormholes and various points on the time-space continuum. The warp drive continuum booster synchronizes the small region of space that is being warped into another space-time continuum. Once a time lock is established through the zero-time generator to the destination time and space, the origin or home location can be terminated, allowing the time-space continuum to snap like a rubber band to the selected space-time. The polyphase warp harmonic field array combines the three essential devices for practical time travel and interfaces them in a convenient module that can be installed easily in many discoid or tubular craft. The polyphase warp harmonic field array. The polyphase warp harmonic field array in its complete assembly can be seen in Figure 1. The general arrangement, the radiated portion of a rotating magnetic field in a gigahertz terahertz frequency range lags behind the magnetic generators. This creates unusual harmonic mag field patterns that warp the temporal aspects of a variable region within the magnets. The purpose-built computers generate the special high-frequency power pulses and keep track of the resulting temporal lag. Warp drive continuum booster. The warp drive continuum booster in its general arrangement can be seen in Figure 2. Counter-rotating streams of electrons are tuned to collide within the... seems like the same stuff over again. Tuned to collide within the particle mixing chamber. The two colliding beams are synchronized to interact in a small region of space where a superimposed pattern of the two signals form. This small pattern contains regions of temporal continuum disorders which can be measured. The time wave rectifier. The time wave rectifier in its general arrangement can be seen in Figure 3. Yeah, this is just a repeat, but I'll go ahead and read it. Tachyons, daughter products of matter-antimatter collisions, are slowed by magnetic array and tuned laser cooling. The tachyon wavefront can then interact with several replaceable sensors during its transit to the cooling chamber. The zero-time generator. The zero-time generator in its general arrangement can be seen in Figure 4. Specific energy positrons are timed to interact with specific frequency photons to calibrate rest tachyon daughter particle detectors. According to the original promotional literature found in the folder from the future, the polyphase warp harmonic field array was a complete assembly in itself and did not require any other devices. With its self-charging space power batteries, the full assembly could warp a field in excess of 100 meters. This is enough to take an entire house through space and time. The device could also warp the space-time continuum around cars, ships, submarines, helicopters, discoid saucers, and tubular or triangular craft. Therefore, many users of the polyphase warp harmonic field array's full assembly preferred to have them installed in their vehicle of choice. Some individuals or specialty groups apparently purchased small 5-seater discoid craft from Stellar Aerospace Industries and had the polyphase warp harmonic field array unit installed. Installation of the unit on the larger SAI-222 craft allowed for larger groups to visit the past and future. These larger craft, with a capacity of 600 passengers, used a total of 5 polyphase warp harmonic field array units synchronized to the central computer. These ships came into use shortly after the small versions, which were known to have cost an exorbitant amount and were not therefore widely affordable. With the larger craft, affordable commercial traffic would allow for larger groups to visit predetermined time-space destinations allowed by the Temporal Distortion Monitoring Committee set up in 2290. At least 20,000 of the polyphase warp harmonic field array full assemblies were manufactured, and according to the company brochure, most of them have been scattered throughout time. Their manufacture was discontinued in 2324 due to the popular movement to discontinue further manufacturing on Earth and move all such businesses to other planets and their moons. And then we have yet another copy of that same polyphase warp harmonic field array. So one more time, that. And that is the end of this chapter. That was a short one. Lots of illustrations. So the next one is going to be a short one too. Not short enough that I'm going to jump into it tonight. But it is patents and diagrams. So there's quite a bit to show there. There are actual wiring diagrams and everything in here. So yeah, we'll get to that next time. There's even a anti-gravity vehicle illustrated here. Full vehicle. So we'll get to that next time. That will be Sunday. So come on back for that. That's chapter 9. Chapter 10, and we're getting really near the end of the book. Time Travel for Fun and Profit is the title of chapter 10. And it's going to be a bit longer, more reading, less illustrations, although there are a few at the end here. Oh, wait. Oh my God, there are What the? Is that? Oh, that's the end of the book. There are god-awful amounts of illustrations and like comic strips and everything in that one. So that's going to be an interesting little... Wow. Okay. Maybe I ought to go ahead and jump into it. We're only 43 minutes in. But I wanted to play tonight. I wanted to play some Mass Effect. Nope. I'm going to resist the urge. We will do chapter 9 on Sunday, and we'll finish the book on next Tuesday. Resist the temptation to carry on. All right. So thank you. Hey, Nambro, how's it going? Glad to see you come in. It was a short chapter with lots of illustrations. The next one will be as well, but the last is going to be a long chapter with a lot of reading followed by a lot of illustrations, and that finishes the book. So, all right, I am going to end this session, and I will be back in a few minutes to start up a Mass Effect stream. So I will see you in just a few.
My heart is beating. I know the pieces. When one is broken and one is weak, because I have seen you fall apart. I have no rules apart to play. I didn't have anything to say. Follow your heart, but don't overtake it. If you leave it behind, someone will break it. I left you my heart, but what did you do? You used it and abused it. You let me all side and side. Was my love untrue? Was it that bad? You had no answers in life. Don't know without you, how will I survive? Alone. because I have seen you fall apart. I have no rules about to play. I didn't have anything to say. Follow your heart, don't overtake it. If you leave it behind, someone will break it. I left you my heart, what did you do? You used it and abused it. You let me all side and side. Was my love